This is the Efficiency 5-in-1 tool, and I highly doubt you've ever seen a tool like this before. So we'll look at that special feature you just saw in a moment, but first let's look at the plier heads. So these are a 5-in-1 tool, and it's pretty obvious where two of those are. But let's look at the other three. So here's the pliers. The plier heads have some pretty big, teeth in those jaws. Now you have the slip joint rather, so you can get pretty open. Now on the first slip joint, you have pliers that get relatively big. So opened up, these guys get about, I would say, 5/8 of an inch in width, and that's not, you can do a lot with that, especially with these teeth. If I look at this guy right here, you can see that pretty nice, but it's only biting with a few teeth on flat pieces. Okay, so on the second joint, you can see you have a lot more space here. I'm pretty confident here I can get about an inch and a half, maybe a bit more, and still have a comfortable hold on the handle. Here is 3/4 inch pipe. You can see when I'm gripping this, the handles do come together, and I can easily twist this guy off. But you can see that that's like, even if I'm gripping it really tightly, I can still kind of spin things that way. Now if I kind of go the opposite way, it's pretty good, but the pipe is still spinning. Here's, I guess, some 1.25" pipe, and trying to show you how it seats there. So there's a little bit of an opening here, but it does feel pretty good, and I would say it actually holds this 1.25" way better than the 3/4 inch. I kind of want to compare it against Knipex. So the Knipex hold way better. Like I feel you can see that these guys are slipping. The handles obviously are more comfortable. It feels just better on the bolt. And these guys are definitely slipping, but they are a lot of fun. So that's two, technically, I guess, in their books of the functions. But here's the third. It also has a wire cutter. I don't know if you can see that there. Here is 18 gauge wire, okay? And you're going to see here, it's going to cut it no problem. And here is 14 gauge wire. Now this guy requires a lot more strength, but you can get it. What I'm noticing while I'm using this here is that these actually really hurt your hands to cut wire with. But the cutters themselves are in great shape. Okay, so here's a banana for scale, and please subscribe. And finally, when you move the S wrenches into the third position, you're able to separate the handles, and now you have two S wrenches. They are a 5/8 and a 1/2 inch wrench. Now, I'm not going to really show them in use, and I'll show you why. So here's the 1/2 inch. You can see that the jaws there are bent quite a bit. These are very old pliers from the 1920s, and I don't want to make them any worse. They feel pretty rugged, but yeah, you can tell that they're bent, and the 5/8 ones are a little bit better. You can see some problems there. They're a little bit better, but they're still a little bent. So to put it back together again, you just insert it like that. So let's talk about the history of these guys real quick. I was able to only find a little bit of information Its patent is titled Combined Wrench and Pliers, and that was filed in the 1920s. I found two old advertisements for this tool. One is from Popular Science, and it really kind of tries to illustrate what you can do with this tool in terms of taking it apart. And the other looks to be some sort of order brochure. What I really like about this advertisement is the quote, "Guaranteed to stand up under all circumstances." Okay, I can tell you right now that this one has lived up to that guarantee and has been heavily used. So I haven't actually showed you here. One of the markings, efficiency, patent applied for. So this brand was efficiency. And later dates, there was another brand called Efficiency we can talk about when I review one of those tools. But here it says Efficiency Tool Co. And you can see what looks to be almost like a WIS. And actually, this was manufactured in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that's actually what used to be right there. But you can tell after years of using it, it's come off. And another thing, the plier handles are actually a bit bent. So you can see here that when they're aligned properly, they're about to close and then they don't fully close because, how do I show this here? Because this handle right here, I think it's this handle. Yeah, I think this handle right here is bent a little bit like this. Just ever so slightly, so these two guys actually hit each other. Now, there's a little bit of play in these guys, so you can still get it apart together, but as a result, these guys are a little tiny off kilter from what they could be. And finally, this actually used to be nickel plated. The only nickel plating that actually is left is right there. And you can kind of see it's a little flaking off. And one other area it has problems, I already kind of highlighted. So the actual wrenches themselves have been used quite a bit. You can see that they're not fully parallel. When you're working hard on something, you can get stuck. And taking time away from that project and separating yourself from it can give you a new perspective. Embrace separation as a new opportunity to grow. Thanks for watching. I don't know why I did that.